All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another Gap Chat live here during Gap Year Exploration Month. My name is Jazz, and I am the Community and Communications Manager here at CanGap. And I am so excited today because although it is our last Gap Chat of the month, although I'm excited to keep doing these, today I'm really excited because I'm going to be talking with Nora Livingstone from Animal Experience International. And just a quick background before we jump into it. So, Animal Experience International is a Canadian-owned B Corp that helps people travel on a safe, ethical, and authentic animal volunteer program. So, since 2012, they have been helping gappers go across the world and help animals on their gap year and actually come back with real tangible skills that they can apply to their career and their next steps. And today, what I'm so excited about is not only is that the coolest thing I've ever heard, it's also, ethical travel and ethical volunteering during your gap year is a question and a concern. And like kind of this iffy topic because, over the last couple of years, we've seen a lot how volunteerism, traditionally how it's been done has brought to light a lot of challenges and issues in the way that we're actually approaching community work, especially in when we're working abroad. So I'm really excited for Nora and I to kind of dive deeper into this. And I see that she is already here. So I'm going to just accept her and let her in. Just give it a second while she pops in. There we go.
Hi. Oh, it's very dark here. Oh, or not. Who knows?
I had to adjust my lighting like 4 times before I came live. Good evening. Hello, Nora. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Jazz?
Good. It's bright and early on this end of the world, so very. It's
Well, good
already
morning.
Wednesday. Living in the future. I
Yeah.
I know both of us have been really, really excited about this chat. And I'd love for you to just give a quick intro into you and your beautiful story, and we'll kind of take it from there.
Yeah, well, welcome everyone. Hello. My name is Nora, and I'm the CEO, founder, volunteer coordinator, a lot of things at Animal Experience International, which Jazz so lovelily told you about. So what what AEI does is we get people to volunteer on safe, ethical, and authentic volunteer programs. And all of this kind of started because I have been very lucky and very privileged to be able to travel myself quite a lot. And after I was done university, I started in Nepal and then went through a few different countries volunteering at a number of different programs. And I just saw such a need for very good volunteers. It doesn't mean like professionally good, but just volunteers that are there to be laid back, to be cheerful, to listen, maybe more than they talk. And then I saw also a great need for people when I was back home. People kept on asking me, like, how did you find these programs? How did you make sure you were safe? How did you make sure it was a program that was actually good? So my business partner, Dr. Heather Reed, a wildlife veterinarian, and I met at a wildlife center in Canada. And she kind of pitched this idea, why not do this for a living and help people ethically travel and also help animal groups get wonderful volunteers. So yeah, that was back in 2012, and here we are now.
10 years later, officially. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. And I'm all about cheerleading for B Corp businesses, but can you give us a little bit of background on what does it mean to be a B Corp business?
Yeah, sorry, I think maybe my connection's not very good, but I'm going to assume you want me to tell you about B Corps.
I
Um,
do.
yeah, so it was back in 2013. I was having a chat with a friend who worked for Patagonia, and she said, "Oh, have you thought about being a B Corp?" And I was like, "Nope, because I have no idea what that is." And she said, "Oh, they are companies like all these other companies and charities, but they have what is called triple bottom line. So they make money, and that is success, but that's only one line. The other lines are they look at their quantifiable benefit to the community as well to the environment. And I thought, oh, that sounds actually really cool. Why not do that? So to be a B Corp, that is the essence of what you do, but you get audited by a third party every 3 years at this point, and the process is eternal, which is good, and it should be. And the audit is looking again at like the quantifiable benefit. So instead of looking, instead of costing the community or damaging, or instead of looking at like harm reduction, they say, but what do you actually do that's good? And, looking at like how many trees have you planted at your programs? How many animals are released back into the wild? How many, what's like a really good example? Yeah, how many single mothers are being given a living wage to work on your programs? And so I love B Corps because there is such a diversity of them. Everything from like Ben and Jerry's ice cream to, which we've all cried into during this pandemic, to, Patagonia, and then everything in between. So it's sort of like a fair trade stamp or like LEED certified, but it's for everything. So it's really, really amazing. And then it also just like takes the guesswork out of something. You want to buy something and you go, well, these tortilla chips are a B Corp. And so like, I know that they have been audited and they continue to be audited. So I know that they're excellent. So I will snack on those.
Yeah, it's really making sure like organizations are really walking their talk, because it's so easy for us to get sucked into greenwashed marketing. And I think obviously we're a lot more privy to it now, especially Gen Z. They're like, nope, that's fake, that's wrong. I love it. I love it. They're just calling people out. And I think it's so beautiful that it's, especially when you're going through the process of trying to choose a gap year program or a volunteer abroad program, and you want to make sure that it is doing what it's saying. And then we talk a lot about that with gappers when it comes to actually, doing your research, because it's so overwhelming how many programs are trying to market them, of course. So having that B Corp kind of stamp just helps certify that like they're doing the work. So that's really exciting. And thank you for breaking it down, because it's also, there's so many of these kind of certifications around ethical businesses, and sometimes we don't really get a chance to understand exactly what they mean. So I think this is a really good little intro so that gappers can start identifying
Yeah. And on the B Corp website, like you can look at our audit, like everything is fully transparent. And so you're able to look at ours and everyone's. And if there are other travel companies out there, which there are a few, if you want to travel with them, you can look at exactly where their benefit is. And I think that is so great, especially for gappers, because like you don't know what you don't know. And like, you don't know the questions to ask, because like, why would you? And so looking at these audits and going like, oh, I didn't think about it that way, because how would I think is just so empowering for your gap year and moving forward, saying, wow, I know no matter what, I'm going to have this footprint. So let's make this footprint as beneficial as possible.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's like a perfect lead into my next question, because so many gap year students want to do something good on their gap year. They want to give back. They want to have a travel experience that also aligns with their values. But what we've seen of the voluntourism industry has been very wonky over, it's kind of like finally coming to light, kind of what equals a ethical versus a non-ethical experience. So, what would you, in a nutshell, how would you describe like comparing a voluntourism from what we know in like the mainstream market? What does that look like compared to an ethical service-based program? What are things to look for maybe so that students are choosing the right program?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think so much of people maybe choosing not a great program, is people just have this heart for service and they do want to help, but we don't know what we don't know. And all of tourism, all of the world is marketed to us. And so if you see something that looks amazing and you get to do it, you're not going to maybe, really ask yourself, is this something that I should be doing? And so without calling anyone else out, because I don't think that we super need that, taking that step back and looking at the work that you're going to be doing in a different country and really expanding your mind, and really, like, this is about the decolonization of travel. And it's saying, I am, yes, a very privileged person in Canada. I get to travel. I get to do these things. But does it make sense for me to travel and just show up to a community and say, this is how I'm going to help you? Or does it actually make sense? Like, you would have people come into your home and say, how can I help? Why don't you tell me? And like one of the most important things that I always tell people is, if you can't do something in your home country, how could you be able to do that in a different country? And so, I mean, I'll call it like a little bit. We have people that see pictures of gap year students who have taken part in surgeries of animals, and they go, wow, this is amazing. This is so great. And it is amazing, it is so great, but how were you able to do that? Like, what professional in the area does not get to do that anymore? And what are the long-term effects for that animal that you should not have been doing surgery on? And I don't begrudge anyone. And like, again, we don't know what we don't know. And so this isn't me saying like, you should have known that would have been bad, but it's about taking that step back and looking at, authentically, am I here for me or am I here for service? And if you're there for service, then you will be there for yourself. You are going to learn so much about the culture and so much about, if you're working with us, obviously animals, but anyone who's traveling in a gap year, if you take yourself out of center and you look at it as service based, then you're going to get more out of it, because you will actually be of service rather than people having to serve you. Just like flipping around again, like the decolonization of travel and like places needing to be colonized and needed to be saved. It's not about that. It's about us working in collaboration and saying, what do you need? How can we help? We're all in this together. Let's all be in it together.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So it's like, how can we leverage the skills that we have, but also support skilled professionals in their work where there is not enough support, as they especially when it comes to animals, which gets me so excited because I want to do one of your programs up so badly. And I think it's so important to remember that like it is still a learning journey. Like, you're fresh out of high school, you're still like, this is an opportunity to really take in not just like you're getting to do hands-on work and you're working with professionals, but it's also about like learning. What can you take in? What can you take back with you, instead of going in with this mindset of like, well, I can like save the world in 10 days. It's really about like, how do we make things sustainable? How do we make sure that it's community centric? How do we make sure that it's wanted by the community or the animals, and we're not forcing it on the community that we're working with. So that's really, really beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for breaking that down also in a really accessible way, because often, I think the kind of takeaway there is just like, when you do come across an opportunity that seems awesome and that you want to do it, take a step back and really evaluate if you're the right person to be doing it, is what I'm kind of hearing there.
Absolutely. I think there's so many transferable skills that all of us have. Like, all of us know how to cut a banana because we've all, eaten a banana, or like we know how to sweep. And in some places, that is the most excellent help that you can give an elephant or you can give a monkey. We don't have to be professionals. We don't have to know how to do orphaned monkey rehabilitation. We don't have to know how to run an elephant center. But if we go there and we are the hands and feet of the center, then other professionals get to do this work. And it not only do you learn more, you help more, but to your point, it's also more sustainable. if we just jam tons and tons of volunteers into a program, take away all the professionals, take away all the diversity of skills that are in the community, when something happens like a global pandemic and there's suddenly no volunteers, what will happen to these animals? What happens to these communities? We want to make sure that the work is happening before we're there, when we're there, of course, and when we're not there as well.
100%. And I love, I don't know if this is like a new concept, but I've just never heard the terminology around this before. But at our Gap Year Expo in November, you did a session that was on consent-based travel. And I was like, of course that makes sense to me as someone who's been traveling for so long. But I was like, I've never, like, you're really like breaking it down to make it just more accessible and more, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess accessible is the easiest word I can use right now. It's still early on this side of the world. But I'd love for you to also just break down what that is. I'm going to send everyone to go watch that training that's on our YouTube, because it actually has gotten quite a bit of traction on our YouTube. And I'm just curious, what does that mean to you? What is consent-based travel, especially in this context of working with AEI?
Yeah, well, so consent-based travel you never heard of before because I made it up. And then I actually then contacted a bunch of universities that have tourism programs. And I said, like literally, I said, who did I steal this from? Because like, there's no way I just made it up. It seems like it's like a very accessible, easy way. So I must have taken this from someone else's mouth. And everyone that I talked to were like, no, but yes. Yeah. So consent-based tourism and travel. So in the past 2 years, AEI has exactly had 4 people travel with us. And that has only been in places that have said, we want people here, and please have them come. They will be not just like appreciated, they will be welcome and we want. And so in this 2 years of like really waiting and really talking about ethical tourism and what that means, this kind of idea was floating in my head because so many of us, thankfully, understand consent, and more people are learning about it and talking about it. And it's such an empowering way for people to live their lives. Like, just, my body is my body, and a full body yes is the only thing that will get me to do something. So why not extend that to travel? And so in the AEI context, consent-based travel is 3 major players. It would be the animals. And so it's such an easy way to see if a program is ethical or not, because you're able to see if the animal is actually consenting to the interaction. So does it have a chain? Does it have a tether? Is it in a tank? Or can it go away? If it can go away from the interaction, it means it's going to be a consensual interaction. If it does happen, you get to be, at elephant sanctuaries, sometimes we see at not true sanctuaries, we'll say centers, you'll see elephants that have been chained, and people will walk up to them and be like, I had this amazing experience with an elephant. And like, you kind of did, but it also was spoiled by the fact that there was a chain around this elephant. There are other centers that these elephants have been habituated to humans and want to have an interaction, and that a true consensual interaction is not cheapened by a chain or anything else. So you're able to really say, like, yes, I did have this experience with this sentient being. The other group that's really important for all travel always is the community. Is the community actually consenting for you to be there? Especially right now when like governments are opening things up and there's restrictions and there's lessening of this and everything else. Again, I talk about like the decolonization of travel being so important. And I think we've had this beautiful time to stop and reset and say, do people actually want us here? And when we have been talking with all of our partners, there have been times that countries have opened up, and I've emailed the partners who've been like, this is amazing, let's send you volunteers. And they've said, no, like on paper, it looks like it's open, but the local community is going to be very, very hesitant. We don't have enough vaccines. We are really worried. And it's not going to build trust in the community. And so we've said, like, absolutely, we're not going to go there then. We will wait because I also would hope that people would wait for my consent before they come into my home and my community.
So
And so this is, you know, the hope for all of travel. And then the third most important person always in consent is yourself. And I think this is so important for gap years because you can be pulled in 100,000 directions. It's all over the place. What should I do? What will be good for my CV? What will be good for university? What do my parents want me to do? All of that. And in the end, the best thing for you is your full body yes. Because that is how you are going to have the best experience. You're going to be the safest. You're going to take the most out of it. Will you get something that is going to look great on a CV? Yes, because you are going to make it look great on your CV, because you will have such a wonderful experience because you really want to be there. And then it also means you're going to help the animals more and you're going to help the community more because you're not begrudgingly there going like, I feel like I was coerced into this. So yeah, like consent with the community, the animals, and people. If you use that little triangle, then anytime you travel, you can be like, this feels kind of gross. I don't know like the deep ethics of travel, but I know that this doesn't feel consensual. And so you can just say like, I don't need to know the deep ethics. I just know I should not be here.
yeah. 100%. Yeah, I love that you're talking about kind of the full body yes. It's like, what does it feel like in your body? If it's a no, then it's a no. And again, for everyone watching, I'll put in the description below, once this is not live anymore, the link to that video so that you can dive a little bit deeper into that concept with Nora, because it's probably the easiest way to break down that entire concept, because sometimes it's so hard to verbalize, and I feel like you've done such an amazing job of just making that accessible, and that's probably why all the universities are like, Nora, you're a genius. So
tell me again.
So as we start to wind down, I would love, like, obviously gappers are going to be like, well, what does an AEI program even look like? What are the options? So I wanted to ask, what is your favorite AEI program? And just kind of like walk us through what like a day in the life would look like in terms of like the different activities and work that they would be taking up.
Yeah, so I'm going to cheat and give you two because brevity is not my forte. But so I would say the first one that just comes to mind is a wildlife center that we have in Guatemala. And it is so amazing because wildlife rehabilitation, it has my heart for a number of reasons. One of them is you just see so many different animals. So from margays and jaguars to toucans to howler monkeys, like they're all there. And so like not only is it good like bang for your buck, it's also just like, oh my gosh, all of these animals are here. So this center works directly with the government, and they take confiscated animals that have been confiscated from animal traffickers, or animals that have had a negative human interaction, which I guess is also traffickers. So sick, orphaned, injured animals come to the center, they get rehabilitated, and they get released again. And so it's so excellent being a volunteer because you have no pressure to be a vet. That is not why you're there. We are not looking for veterinarians. We are looking for people, literally, like I said before, that can chop bananas. So you wake up in the morning and your first shift is breakfast for the animals. And so it is chopping bananas. It is putting fruit together. It's if there is a carnivore like a jaguar or some crocodilian, they need to have some type of like chicken, fish, scenario, chicken or fish, what would you like? You get to be their flight attendant. And then you on a team get to go to these enclosures. If it is an animal like a crocodile that can bite you, then you do not work directly in the enclosure. You are always safe. But something that is very cute is howler monkey orphans are like very, very docile and like very like chill. So you do get to go into their enclosures. There's no touching. There's no like poke, poke, talkie, but you get to go in and give them like kind of like a pablum scenario with some other like leafy greens. And you live right at the center. And so your commute is like a couple steps to work. You also eat at the center. There's a local lovely woman that does all the cooking. And so you just show up and you have this like all-inclusive experience, and you happen to be a wildlife hero when you're there. Without any experience. Like my mom went on the program with me in 2019 when we had a group go out, and my mom has like never met a toucan. And like the second day she was there, she was on like toucan watch, and she just like did toucan stuff all day, which is amazing. The other program, which I think is just so amazing, is well, all of them are great, I'm highly biased, but we have a program in Mongolia that is with wild horses, and that one is amazing. There's no hands-on work with the animals because they're wild horses that are out on the Mongolian steppe, but you are working with the scientists. And so your job is to go hiking with scientists every day and to count the horse pony. And you also, you get the GPS coordinates, you write down the behavior and all the other things that are going on, because like good hygienic data is a lot of data. And so if there's 2 scientists going out and there's 2 data points every hour, then it's good. But if there's 10 volunteers, then there's so many more, right? I was gonna like do a bunch of math in my head. I'm not doing that. There's just more data. And the more data we have, the more like really comprehensive conservation laws and understanding and isms that we can come up with. So you may not be working, again, like directly with the animals, but you're living in a yurt in Mongolia. Someone cooks for you as well, because like, you know, we're not going to make you do that. Again, it's like an all-inclusive trip, but you just so happen to be like a wild horse hero. And I think that is what makes AEI programs so cool, because you're fully immersed when you go there. We take care of airport pickup to drop off, and we make sure that we know your skills and their skills. So when you go there, they're not like, oh, I thought you'd be a National Geographic photographer. I guess you can do this. We're like, oh, this person is a gap year student. This is why they're here. This is what they're interested in. And when you're there, they can make the program for you, which is so cool.
That's beautiful. Oh my gosh, I love it. Oh, I want to do that program so bad. I'd love to live in a yurt and hang out with horses.
Yeah.
Kind of seems similar to my life here, which is really funny.
You like it.
One of the biggest pieces that I think is so beautiful about these kind of programs is that it actually, there's so much that translates to your CV. And, you know, thinking of some of the program outcomes and some of the kind of activities or skills that they would be building throughout the program, how might those kind of like translate to their skill building throughout their gap year? So what could that look like in terms of the takeaways and the outcomes of the program being translated into building their beautiful resumes as they exit?
Yeah, well, I think travel is so amazing because you develop real hard and real soft skills. They are both skills. And so in a year that we have heard in the 2 years that we've heard resilience 1,000 times, I don't want to say it again, but I will. Like, travel just makes you resilient in a different way than this global panini has, you know? So it helps you meet new people. It helps you have a greater understanding of like culture around you. It gives you an understanding of your privilege and where you kind of like sit in the world. And I think seeing that in the end, having a real experiential learning time when you're traveling, not only does it look good on your CV, look, I was able to do this, but when you're able to express your privilege, express what you're interested in and why, that really helps. Your CV will get you very far, but your ability to talk with other people and your ability to talk about your passions will get you even further. And sometimes your CV will get your foot in the door because people are like, you went to Mongolia when you were, what are you talking about? I just went, what? And like, that's how I got like my very first job as a volunteer coordinator. I had like said I was at an elephant center before, and they were like, what? That's why you're here. Talk about elephants. I will talk all day about elephants. And so, yeah, those soft skills that you really develop, and in a program like that we have, it's a really soft place to do it. You're not going to one day wake up and worry about what you're going to have for breakfast, where you're going to sleep the next day, what the program looks like, if this is a sustainable program and will exist when you're gone. You're able to be there and really succeed, and also fail if that happens. Sometimes people go places and they go, oh, you know what? I love animals. I hate cleaning poo. I do not want to do this. This is a great way to find out that you are not interested in that, but you perhaps are interested in like the diversity and the sort of breadth. It's fine. The diversity. You can laugh at yourself when you can't say a word. That word makes sense in my head, but my mouth will not do it. But you have this experience that you're able to understand that helping and working with animals is more than just the veterinary sciences. And those are very important. We need to have vets. We need to have vet techs and nurses. They are so great. But I wish when I was traveling, I wish when I was in high school, someone would have sat me down and said, it's okay that chemistry makes your neurons go backwards. You do not have to like be a vet to help animals. Yeah. You can do design, you can build cages, you can be a cook, you can build a fence. All of these things are going to help. And so I think that's also really good on your CV, because you're able to then build a CV around something that you want to do, that you're good at doing, that you can see the value in as well. There's so much value in the wide range of how you help animals, from accounting and fundraising to design and social media. Whatever you're good at, that can be something for animals. And I think that's really cool, and something that you can really experience when you are traveling with AEI or whoever you're traveling with.
Yeah, so when a gap year student approaches you to start kind of the application process or moving forward to actually choose a program, are they coming and suggesting what skills that they have, and then they're kind of matched to a program? Is that how it works?
Yeah, I mean, there's many different ways. So AEI is two of us. And so we have been to all of the programs. We go to all the programs first to make sure that they're safe, they're ethical, and they are authentically helping. It's not just something on the internet. But then it also means, because we've been there and we've had these experiential learning moments, I think as a volunteer coordinator, there are people that contact me and say, this is what I'm interested in doing. Can you match me with something? But then there's other people that go through our website and go, oh my gosh, drop everything. You have a shark program. How do I do shark? And I can say, all right, well, this is what you have to do. So It is a real mixture. Some people will just look through the programs and they can apply right away. The application process is free, so why not? And then once you do apply, you just talk with me. And there has been times that people have applied to a program and we've talked, and in that talking, we figured out, you know what, this program doesn't make sense. This one will be way better. And so that has been really fun as well, to say, listen, I've been there and I'm telling you, you are going to love it. This is exactly where you're going to sleep. This is what you're going to eat. And when you wake up and there's a sea turtle walking up and nesting right beside your cabina, your brain is going to explode and it's going to be great. So no, you didn't want to do that. You'll be fine. It'll be great.
That's awesome. So you've heard it. So there's two ways to approach this. You can choose your program. You can chat with Nora to see what program works best for you. And we actually happen to be giving away a $250 program discount with AEI, but there's a catch. You have to join us in our Gapper Connect Discord and you need to tell us what program you want to go on and why. So we're going to be chatting about that. We're actually chatting quite a bit in our Discord this week about how do you actually take your gap year plans and then how do you take your plans and then make it happen in real life? So how do you take action? And then also, how do you make sure that your gap year is prepping you for that next step? So whether that is if you're going to post-secondary after. So like, for example, if you were thinking about going into a veterinary program or something to do with, working with animals, this would be a great opportunity to build up your resume, make sure it's something that you're interested in, and then you can kind of move forward to that next step. So we're going to be chatting a lot more about that in our Gapper Connect Discord. The link to join is cangap.ca/GapperConnect. Of course, it'll also be in the description below. But I'm really excited about that because, if I was a gap year student, I'd be like, choose me. I want to go to Mongolia now so bad. Nora, this has been so fantastic. Thank you so much for giving us your time today and diving a little bit deeper into everything from ethical service-based travel to all the amazing things that are Animal Experience International and your incredible programs. Do you have any closing thoughts you'd like to leave our gappers with today?
Oh my gosh. I think to get kind of esoteric, there are really no wrong answers. I think sometimes people go and they have all this decision fatigue and all of this everything from the last 2 years. Sometimes they go on the website and they're like, there's just too much and I don't know. And I just there are no wrong answers. You are going to love what you do as long as you do make a choice. So it's not one or the other. Your life is very long and can be very full and can be very diverse. So don't look at it as if I do this, I'm shooting myself in the foot and I won't get to do something else. Your path is so divergent and can go back. So if you want to travel with us, that is amazing and we'll see you soon. And if that is going to be something that happens down the road, don't worry, we're only 10 years in. We will be here when you want to travel with us.
That's that. I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome, Nora. Thank you so much. This has been lovely. This is now I'm I want to just talk about ethical travel all the time because I'm so passionate about it as well. But I hope this was really valuable to everyone who's watching live and what we'll be watching afterwards. And I will also, AEI will be tagged. So if you need to get in touch with Nora, just send them a DM and chat more about all the wonderful things that you would like to do on your gap year and see if there's the right program for you. So
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks, Nora. Have a lovely evening. And I'm looking forward to already chatting with you again.
Absolutely. You have a great morning. And thank you so much. Yeah, thanks everyone. This has been super fun. It's always lovely talking with you, Jazz.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. You totally made my morning.
Well, you're welcome.
Hair flip. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.